Welcome to the NVO's podcast, where we share actionable insights on web design, SEO, paid advertising, and AI automation. Each episode is focused on practical strategies you can apply immediately to build smarter systems, attract better traffic, and scale your business with confidence. Today, we're digging into a huge question on every developer's mind. Can AI really take over one of the most critical and, let's be honest, tedious tasks in software?
Okay, so let's start with the core idea here. Software refactoring. The best way to think about it is like renovating a house. You're not adding a new bedroom or changing the address, right? You're going inside, rewiring the electrical, upgrading the plumbing, making the whole thing stronger and way easier to work on down the road. It's all that crucial under-the-hood work that keeps your code healthy for the long haul.
For years, developers have been dreaming of a magic button for this. And now, with these incredibly powerful large language models like ChatGPT and Gemini popping up everywhere, the big question is, are we there yet? Have we finally reached the point where we can just hand this job over to an AI?
To get a real answer, we're going to follow the data from a pretty fascinating new study. We'll start with the big promise of AI. Then we'll look at what happened in the initial tests. From there, we'll uncover the secret to unlocking its real power, but also confront the hidden dangers of buggy code. And finally, we'll check out a practical safety net that brings it all together, defining a new role for AI, not as an autopilot, but as a copilot.
I mean, the promise here is just massive. If you could automate refactoring, you'd free up countless hours for developers, you'd improve code quality everywhere, and ultimately, you'd help teams build better software faster. It's exactly the kind of game-changing efficiency every business is looking for.
So, that's the dream. But what happens when the rubber meets the road? Well, researchers took a really direct approach. They fed real-world code that needed fixing to AI models like ChatGPT and Gemini. And those first results? Well, let's just say they were pretty sobering.
They started out with a super simple, generic command. Basically what any of us would do. They just told the AI, hey, look at this code and find ways to make it better. Simple as that.
And how did that work out?
Yeah, not so great. Look at these numbers. Out of 180 chances to improve the code, ChatGPT only found about 15% of them. And Gemini? Oof, less than 4%. I mean, based on this first look, you'd think AI was a massive failure at this.
But, and this is a huge but, that's not where the story ends, not even close. The researchers didn't just give up. Instead, they figured out the secret to unlocking the AI's real potential. And it wasn't a better AI. It was a much, much smarter way of asking the question.
So this is the kind of simple prompt they started with. You can see how general it is, just asking the AI to identify potential refactoring opportunities. It's a really open-ended question that gives the AI almost no guidance on what to do.
And this right here, this was the big aha moment. The problem wasn't the AI's ability to do the work. The problem was the instructions we were giving it. The AI needed a guide, not just a vague command.
So how'd they make their requests better? Well, instead of that fuzzy, vague ask, they got super specific. They told the AI the exact type of refactoring to look for. They gave it context on why the code was considered bad. They even pointed out the bad code by name, and, this is critical, they narrowed the search space so the AI wasn't just aimlessly wandering through an entire file. And the impact of that change? Whoa! Just look at this. ChatGPT's success rate completely skyrocketed. It went from that dismal 15% all the way up to an incredible 86.7%. That's not a small improvement, that is a total transformation. It proved that with the right guidance, the AI is absolutely capable of doing this job.
Okay, so this looks like a huge win, right? Problem solved. But hold on, not so fast. There's a really critical catch here. A hidden risk that every single development team needs to understand before they dive in. Because not all of the AI's suggestions were safe.
And this chart breaks it down perfectly. You can see that, yeah, over 60% of the AI's fixes were good, or even excellent, which is awesome. But, you see that dangerous little slice over there? Over 7% of the solutions were just plain buggy. Let's put a hard number on that risk. Across the entire study, the AI has produced 22 unsafe solutions. Now, these weren't just bad suggestions. These were changes that broke the #1 rule of refactoring. They actually changed what the code did, or they introduced new errors that would just make it fail. For any business, that's a completely unacceptable risk to put into your systems.
So, How do we get that incredible 86% success rate without taking on that dangerous 7% risk? This is where the researchers came up with a really elegant and practical solution. They call it the refactoring mirror tactic.
So how does this work? It's a brilliant three-step safety net. First, you let the AI do what it does best, generate the suggested code. Second, and this is the key, you don't just trust it. You use another tool to detect exactly what the AI tried to do. Did it rename a variable, extract a method? And third, you take that list of actions, not the AI's actual code, and you feed it to a traditional trusted refactoring engine to safely reapply only those valid changes.
This creates a perfect firewall. The raw AI output is fast, it's creative, but it's potentially risky. The refactoring mirror output takes the AI's idea, but executes it through a totally safe and reliable system. It basically filters out all the buggy changes and hidden errors automatically.
And how effective is this safety net? It's perfect. In their tests, the refactoring mirror tactics successfully avoided 100% of the buggy solutions the AIs came up with. It completely eliminated the risk.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. We're not looking at a future where AI replaces developers. We're looking at a future where the whole relationship changes. The new model is AI as your co-pilot, not your autopilot.
And this quote from the software house just nails the human element. You know, great software development isn't just about cranking out code, it's about understanding business problems and designing smart solutions. You can't become a senior expert making those big picture decisions if an AI does all your foundational work for you. That experience is still everything.
So here's the bottom line. The most effective path forward is to use AI as an incredibly powerful assistant. It has to be guided by human expertise, that's our advanced prompts, and it has to be protected by smart systems like the refactoring mirror that guarantees safety and reliability. You know, this reframes the whole conversation. It's not about replacement anymore. It's about collaboration. We now have the tools to harness the amazing power of these models safely and effectively. The AI co-pilot is sitting in the cockpit, ready to go. The only real question left for you and your team is,